Yes, so we talked about how we are going to take an input from the user to the program that we are coding. So that is regarding the input function, right? So we take input function, and inside that, as a string, we are going to write a particular phrase which can be understood by the user, as well as which is given an idea for user to enter something, right? So like in a question form, or like in an understandable form, we are going to give some message to user. So when we insert something like this, or in other words, a string inside the input function, this enter number is the one which is going to display on the screen, right? So once the user see that, user is getting the idea, okay, the program is asking something from me, asking some inputs from me. So according to the question given, he will enter the relevant inputs, right? So here, by seeing enter a number on the screen, so he will enter some particular number. So once after the number has entered, we have to press enter key. Then once we press enter key, the given value by the user or the keyboard input will be assigned to this variable called num as a string variable, right? So that means whatever the value that the user is giving, it will be converted into a string. It doesn't matter whether he has given a number, he has given a Boolean value, or he has given a particular string again. This input function will convert that into a string and assign to this particular variable, right? So here in the print statement, we are asking to print the value of num. So value of num is assigned with the user input. So whatever user has been input, it will be printed on the screen using this particular statement, right? Which we have done last week, right? So this was the program that we were discussing about, right? Earlier it was like this. So if I run this, it will ask for a number. So I can give a particular number and press enter. So that number is being printed, right? And I told you it is a particular string value that you are going to receive. So that is why if I add a particular string with it, like if I add ABC with the num, so once I give 30, I'm sorry, if I provide 30, it will print 30 ABC. So this is called concatenation. User input will be concatenated with this particular string. So only a string will be able to concatenate with that when you are using input on this particular manner. If you are going to choose, or if you are going to put any other value, like a number, it's not going to run, it's going to stop, right? If I provide 40 and press enter, it will give you the error which we discussed last time. So it says can only concatenate str to str, right? Not this string with the str. All right, I hope everyone is clear with these things so far, right? So now, today we are going to discuss how we can convert this value, or like if we really want to convert it, how we are going to convert it, right? Why we need the conversion? Because if we like in this example, if we are asking for a number, we are getting a number in most of the cases to do the calculations, right? So we won't be able to do any calculations when we receive a particular value. I have to answer this. Right. So why we are going to convert the inputs into several different formats? It is because we may need those things to be used in those different formats. As an example in here, if we are asking for a number, in most of the cases, we are asking a number to do the calculations. But if we just if the program just receiving through this particular input statement, it is going to receive only a string. So it is not capable of doing calculations, right? So for that, you have to convert this into a number type, right? So when it comes to the number type, Python has three types of numbers, like there are integers, there are floats, and there are complex values, right? Even the method that I'm going to introduce you is helping you to convert the data into different formats or different data types in the Python, right? Not only that the string is going to convert into the int and float and all these things. You can use the similar kind of conversions to convert the integer into the string kind of things or float kind of things. Or those are the two primitive data types that we are talking about, right? So we can go for those things, right? Okay, so let me show you how the user, how a user input, I'm sorry, how a user input is converted into an integer, right? So that is what we have illustrate here in the book as well, right? They have taken num1, and you can see input statement or the input function is inside something called int, right? This is what we call casting. So there is another function called int, and it has its own brackets. එයාටම වෙන් වෙච්ච bracket දෙකක් තියෙනවා. ඒ bracket දෙක ඇතුලේ තමයි මෙයා මේ input function එක දාලා තියෙන්නේ. So when things are like this, what will happen is you will see enter number 1 on the screen. So then user will enter a particular value. So that value will be considered as a string value from the input function. Then from this int function, the user input will be converted into an int, right? So if you want to convert any particular data, which is not an integer, as an integer, right? If you want to convert non-integer data into an integer, this is the trick that you are going to use. You are going to use int function. So whatever that you are going to say within these brackets is going to convert into int, right? And here in num2, this is also asking for another number, second value they are asking. And so like it is from this input function, and it will be converted into a float, right? So whatever the value that you are going to give will be converted into a float type of data, right? So as an example, I have shown you like enter number 1, user inputs 10, it displays 10. Enter number 2, user inputs 20, it displays as 20.0, right? Why it is displayed as 20.0? This 20 is converted into a float from this particular function, and this 10, it is a string. Normally we know it is converted into an integer, but we can't see it like that is being converted into an integer. But as we did it in the program, if we do any calculation, now calculation is going to work, right? Okay, let me illustrate it to you. So simply what we have to do is, there is this int function. Int function has its own brackets. And what are we going to do is this input function will be put in between these brackets. So here I put it, right? Now earlier I had this error saying particular string kind of variable or like string value will not be able to do the concatenation with the integer value. See what happens now, right? I'll take a new output window. Here you go. All right, so I'm going to give 35 as the number, and I'm going to press enter. Once I press enter, this print statement is going to execute. So I press enter. Here's the output. It says 45. Right? So it is because now num has the value of an integer. Earlier it has the value of a string. Right? Now it is contained a value of an integer. So we can do the addition without a problem. Right? And if I change this int into a float, now whatever the value that I'm going to enter, it's going to be converted as a float value, right? That means a number with decimals, right? So if I run it, I'm sorry. It is asking for a number over here. So I'm going to give 43. Press enter. My answer is 53.0. So it is because even though I enter 43, it is converted as a float value. Then the addition is happening inside the print statement. Okay.
Convert. Totally we convert karan.
Float එකකට
convert කරන්නේ කොහොමද ඔක?
convert වෙලා තමයි නිර්මාණ අපිට මෙතන උත්තරේ හම්බෙන්නේ.
ඒකස අපි මොනක්වත් calculation එක කරේ නැද්ද? කියන අපේ අතින් මොනක්වත් කරේ නැද්ද?
නෑ මේ මෙතන තියෙන float කියන function එක තමයි අපි පාවිච්චි කරේ. කලින් මෙතන int නේ පාවිච්චි කරලා තිබුණේ. int පාවිච්චි කරාම integer එකට convert වෙනවා. float පාවිච්චි කරලා තිබුණම automatically float එකකට convert වෙනවා.
ඒකස අපිට අතින් මොනක්වත් calculations කරන්න දෙන්නේ නැහැ නේද?
එහෙම දෙයක් නෑ. කෙලින්ම float එකකට එනවා. එතකොට ඔයාට 43 දුන්නාම නම් වලට assign වෙන්නේ 43.0. හරි. 43.0 10 කියන value එකත් එක්ක එකතු වුණාම 43.0 කියලා කියන්නේ float value එකක්. 10 කියන්නේ integer value එකක්. ඒ දෙකෙන් float තමයි higher position ඉන්නේ. cast එකෙන් වැඩි එක්කෙනා විදිහට ඉන්නේ. ඒක නිසා උත්තරේ 53.0 කියලා එනවා. හරි.
ඒකස මේ දෙක addition එකක් වුණේ නේද?
addition එකක්. දැන් උනේ addition එකක්. කලින් උනේ addition එකක් නෙවෙයි. කලින් උනේ concatenation එකක්. Right?
හරි.
And yeah, how about others? Is that clear? People? Right. Okay. Now I want you to look into this. Something just popped into my mind. So I asked to convert this into an int, and I'm saving it. I'll run this program. I'm going to give you a decimal value, like the floating point value over here, like 34.75. Right? And I'm going to press enter. Then it's going to be a problem. See, it says invalid literal for int with base 10, 34.75. Right? So you have to be sure when you are converting something into an int, the input should be given as a whole number, right? Not as a floating point value, right? Now, if I do this to the other way around, like yeah, hold on a second, people. Yeah, in the earlier situation, you can remember right? When we have float values, once we run this, I'll take it as a new one. Right? If I give 10, it will be considered as a floating point value. right? Then is taken as 20.0, right?
So integer එකක් චුට්ටක් කරලා බලන්න integer එකක් ආපුවම අර concatenation කියන එකයි.
concatenation එක කියන්නේ ඔයා කියන්නේ මුලින්ම කරපු එකද?
ඔව් සර් අර practical කියන්නේ ඔකින් පොඩ්ඩක් කරලා බලන්න.
ඒ කියන්නේ නිර්මාණ දැන් මම මේ කාස්ටිං කරන්න නැති වෙලාවෙ සිද්ධ වෙච්ච දේ දහන්නේ.
ඔව් සර්.
ඔව් ඒතර මෙහෙම තියලා ගන්න කිව්වොත් error එකක් එනවා. right මෙතන මම 20 කියලා දුන්නොත් 20 කිව්වම error එකක් එනවා එන්නේ string එකකට int එකක් concatenate කරන්න බෑ කියලා.
හරි.
right ඒතර අපි int float එක දැම්මම අපි දෙන value එක integer එකක් float එකක් බවට එයා convert කරගන්නවා. but be careful when you are converting it to int, be sure to give integer values. float value එකක් දුන්නොත් තව ගැටලුවක් එනවා. float value එකක් int එකක් බවට cast කරගන්න බෑ කියලා. int එකක් float එකකට cast කරගන්න පුළුවන්. but other way around you won't be able to do that. right ඒ කියන්නේ පොඩි එක්කෙනෙක් cast එකෙන් අඩු එක්කෙනෙක් integer තමයි අඩුම එක්කෙනා. then float then complex. so integer can be converted into a float or a complex. float can be converted into a complex only. complex is complex itself. right ඒගොල්ලන්ට hierarchy එකේ අනිත් පැත්තට එන්න බෑ. right okay so that is how the user input is going to handle. Now the next one is how we are going to put an output. So far we know how to use an output. If we want to give an output, if we want to output something on the screen, we always use this print statement. So inside the print statement, if you give something within double quotes or single quotes, that means as a string, it is going to be print on your screen as it is, right? And again, if you use a particular variable inside the print statement, it's going to print the value of the variable. So here a is assigned with value 5 and I'm asking to print the value of a is, it is as a string. So I put a comma and say a. So value of a is 5. So it will print the value of a is, then value of a 5. Right. So now this sentence is output to the screen that is given by this particular print statement. And the value of a is 5 is given by this particular statement. Right. So if you want to put a variable inside it, sorry for the disturbing. Right. So these two sentences is there because of these two lines. Right. This gives you the output as it is, since it is only a string. This gives the output, the value of a is, then it will print the value of a. And remember, when you are printing, the printing happens, there is no sign of this comma. This comma is just a separation of things. Right? Take a print when the value of a is 5k. The value of a is කියන එක මෙතනින් a විදිහටම මෙතන print වෙනවා. a කියන එක වෙනුවට 5 print වෙනවා. Right? Okay, ළමයි, just a second. Right. So if I copy this particular program, to the same place, let me get rid of the comments. Right. As you can see, this is the output it's going to give us. This sentence output is output to the screen. So it counts as it is. The value of A is, it is from this, and the value of A is given when you are using the variable name, right? That is out of this string. And this variable and the string is separated by this comma, right? So A equals 5 here I given. If I change this into something else, like let's say 1, 2, 3. So if I run this sentence is out put to the screen. The value of A is 1, 2, 3. Right? Okay. Right. People, you have to excuse me for a moment. Right? Today is getting a little bit disturbances. Right? Just excuse me for a minute or two, right? Okay, sorry for the disturbance today, Lamai. All right, so now when I'm changing the value of this, now in case, let's say you are going to put a particular word for the A. So if I save it and if I run this, see, the value of A is hello. And I always remember this particular comma always matters, right? So let's try this as well, right? And I'm going to say after variable, right? I'm going to save it. I'm going to get rid of this thing. Now you can see what is the change that I have done. Here A is there, particular variable, the value is given a string value, right? Then the value of A is within inverted commas, comma, then the variable name, another comma, then we use after variables. So here I'm going to save it. I'm going to run it. See, can you see what happens? The value of A is printed. Then the word hello is printed. Then after variable is printed, right? So likewise, you can use the print statement to represent many different values separate in a comma, right? So those variables, those values will be shown one after the other in a single line, right? In a single line, right? Okay, people, are you clear with that?
So ආයුට explain කරන්නකෝ.
නිර්මාණ මේකේ කියලා තියෙන්නේ ඕනම જાතියක වැලියු එකක් වැලියුස් කීපයක් ඔයාට print statement එකක් ඇතුලේ දාන්න පුළුවන් කමා එකකින් separate කර කර කියලා. right? ඔයාට ඕන ප්‍රමාණයක දේවල් එතන manage කරගන්න පුළුවන්.
හරි සර්.
right?
සර් print statement එකට මේ integer එකක් දාන්න පුළුවන්ද?
print එකට integer එකක් දාන්න පුළුවන්.
හරි සර්.
නිර්මාණ විනාඩියක් ඉඳ සර් ළමයි. Yes. Sorry for today, people. Right. එතකොට නිර්මාණ අපි කතා කරේ ඔයාට කැමති විදිහකට දාන්න පුළුවන් දේවල් කමා එකෙන් separate කරලා. right? ඒතර මේකේ ඕන තරම් variables හරි මේ strings හරි values හරි ඔයාට assign කරන්න පුළුවන්, පාවිච්චි කරන්න පුළුවන් කමා එකකින් separate කරගෙන යනකම්. හරි?
හරි සර්.
Okay. Right. The next one is about how the print statement really works, right? So this illustrates the actual print function, and we are just referring into this only, right? Star and the objects. So star object means like any number of objects, it says, right? So this separate equals space, end equals /n, file equals sys.std out, flush equal false. All these things are there inside the print statement, which help us to give us an output, right? So now we are going to see what's the meaning of these things, right? So far we only works with this asterisk objects, right? Number of objects, right? So asterisk objects means any number of objects. So you can put those things by separating a comma. So what is the meaning of these things, right? So to understand these things, I have given you an example over here, right? So let me first tell you about these things. Now this SEP stands for separator, right? Separator, the default value is a space. Now, this is the reason when we are having different kinds of values separated by a comma, it's going to output the values which are separated by a space, right? Now, if I take print statement, something like this, 10, 20, 30, 40, right? I don't have any spaces in between. After 10, there is a comma. Then 20, there is a comma. 30, there is a comma. 40, then it is done. So I'm saving this. And I'm just running this thing. Yeah, let me take a new one. Yeah, can you see how it happens? It has a 10, then it has a space. It has a 20, then it has a space. In the print statement, we haven't told the print statement to have a space, but by default, it is given us a space. It is because this separator parameter, right? So print function එක පාවිච්චි කරනකොට මේ facilities ටික අපිට automatically හම්බ වෙනවා. අපිට අවශ්‍ය නම් අවශ්‍ය විදිහට මේ කට්ටියව change කරගන්නත් පුළුවන්. Right? So separator by default, it is 20. And if I tell to my program to change the separator, මට පුළුවන් separator එක change කරන්න කියලා කියන්න. After the last value, I'll say sep equals hashtag, right? Right, now I save it and I'm going to run this. Can you see the output? Now it comes 10 hash, 20 hash, 30 hash, 40, right? So it is because I have override, or in other words, overwrite the default value of the separator. Calling separator එකට තිබුණේ default value එක space එකක්. මම දැන් මෙතන specifically කියලා තියෙනවා separator එකට hashtag එකක් පාවිච්චි කරන්න. එතකොට දේවල් වෙන් වෙන්නේ, components වෙන් වෙන්නේ, values වෙන් වෙන්නේ hashtag එකකින්. Right? So ඔයාලට මෙතන එක එක වෙනස්කම් කරන්න පුළුවන්. Right? Double dash දාලා run කරොත් it's going to be separated by double dash. Right? So it's better you know about these things, because these things are very possible inside an MCQ, right? Okay, did you got the idea about separators?
Against අපිට ඕනම separate එකක් දාන්න පුළුවන් bracket double bracket එක.
අපිට පුළුවන් separate එක change කරන්න අපිට අවශ්‍ය විදිහට, right?
හරි.
Okay, and this end parameter, now the parameter called end contains a value called /n. Now this /n indicates create a new line, right? අලුත් පේලියකට cursor එක ගෙනියන්න කියන එක තමයි මේ /n එකෙන් කියන්නේ, right? So that is why when we are using two print statements, right? When we are using two print statements, if I say print 10, then I say print 20, I got two print statements. So I save it and I'm going to run this. So I'm taking it like as 10. Then at the next line, it's 20, right? මේ ඊළඟ line එකට ගෙනියන්නේ මේ උඩ තියෙන print statement එකේ /n එකක් තියෙන නිසා. එයා ඊළඟ එකට යනවා. ගිහිල්ලා මෙයා print කරන එක print කරනවා. තව එක්කෙනෙක් යට තිබුණා. එතනටත් cursor එක තව එක පේලියක් මෙයා පහළට අරගෙන යනවා. right? ඒක නිසා remember the /n character helps to create new lines. right? ඕක අපිට ඉස්සරහට file operations වලටත් ඕන වෙනවා. ඒ නිසා /n ගේ විදිහ මෙහෙමයි කියන එක මතක තියාගන්න. Now if I save this and run, I'm sorry. I save this program and run. So it comes 10, 20, 30. Right? So it is because this /n value. /n means new line. දැන් ඔයගලන්ගේ පොතේ දැන් මේ ටික මම මේ පහළ විස්තර කරලා තියෙනවා. right? but ඔයගලන්ට අවශ්‍ය නම් ඊතල ගහලා ඔය දේවල් ටික හරියට ලියා ගන්න. right? ඔයගලගේ වචනෙන් ලියා ගන්න. ඒක වඩා වැදගත් ඔයගලන්ට. now I can change this /n character. අලුත් line එකකට යන්නේ නැතුව වෙන දෙයක් කරන්න කියන්න පුළුවන්. right? මම කිව්වොත් if I change this into something like this, then lamai just a second. Okay, some constructions are going on now, people. That is why I'm getting disturbed frequently. Right now, if we want, we can change the end, right? Like I can say, like put in a comma, end equals, right? So by default it is /n. I'm saying, okay, for end you have a hashtag for end, right? Now see what happens. Here I'm going to run this. Yeah, let me take it into a new one. So function f5, yes. Okay, now what happens? You can see there is 10, there is a hashtag, there is 20, then at the next line there is 30. Why this is happening? Because 10 is the value in the first print statement, and its end has been changed. Now it is not saying to go to a new line. Instead of that, it says have a hash symbol at the end of that print statement. So it prints 10, then it prints hash symbol. So the cursor will be here until it moves to the next print statement. Now next print statement says what? Print 20, and its end is not being changed. ඒක end එක තියෙන්නේ /n එකක්. ඒක නිසා 20 print කරලා cursor එක යට රුලට අරගෙන යනවා. So then after it says print 30, so it prints 30. Is that clear, people?
So I tenui #20 කියලා දැම්මේ 30 තියෙනවනේ සයි කොටේ.
ඔව්. දැන් නිර්මාණ මම කිව්වේ එකයි. 10 print වෙලා මෙතන අපි end එකට hash එක කියලා අලුතෙන් value එකක් දුන්නාම එයා 10 print වෙලා hash එක print වෙනවා. අලුත් rule එකට යන්නේ නැහැ. මොකද අපි මේ end එකේ අලුත් rule එකට යන්න තියෙන එක override කිරීමක් තමයි වෙන්නේ අපි මේ hash එක දුන්නාම. right? මෙයාගේ සාමාන්‍යයෙන් තියෙන්නේ මේ විදිහටනේ. end එකට ගියාම අලුත් පේලියකට යන්න /n එක පාවිච්චි කරනවා. මෙතනදී අපි ඒක change කරනවා. ඒක නිසා 10 print කරලා අලුත් පේලියකට යන්නේ නැහැ. hash එක print කරලා මෙතන බලාගෙන ඉන්න. ඊට පස්සේ 20 print කරන්න කියලා කියනවා. එතන කියන curse එක තියෙන තැනින් තමයි print වෙන එක වෙන්නේ. 20 print වෙනවා. මේ print statement එකේ end එකේ තියෙන මොකද්ද? අර මේ default එකේ තියෙන slash n ම තමයි. right? එතකොට එයා යනවා. එයා කියනවා 20 print කරලා curse එක අලුත් පෙළියකට ගෙනියන්න. ඊට පස්සේ 30 කියන එක නා print වෙනවා. එතනින් අලුත් පෙළියකට යන්නේ නැහැ. තව පහළ පෙළියක් නැති නිසා. clearද?
ඒක නිවකට ඒ කියන්නේ අලුත් පෙළියකට යන්නේ නැහැ
30 ඉවර වෙන තැනින් තව අලුත් පෙළියකට යන්නේ නැහැ පුතේ. මොකද මේකට යටින් මුකුත් නැහැනේ. ඒක නිසා.
හරි
මොන හරි යට print statement එකක් තිබ්බනම් ආයි ඊළඟ එකටත් යනවා යා.
හරි
හරි? right. Okay, so that is how we know how to use the objects. We know how to what happens with the separate parameter. We know what happens with the end parameter. And this file. Now this file equals, it says sys.stdout. Now sys.stdout means system.standardoutput. That is what it means. System.standardoutput. Right? So this system.standardoutput means computer systems standard output. That means the monitor. Right? ඒකයි ඔයගොල්ලෝ print කරන්න කියලා function එක පාවිච්චි කරාම that you can see the output on the screen. Right? ඒකයි අපිට මෙහෙම print කරන්න කිව්වම මේ විදිහට output එක මේ IDLE එකේ පේන්නේ. If we want, we can change where the output is going to go. Right? So instead of the sys.stdout, if I give some particular file name, the content is going to save to that particular file. Right? Now let's try this, and I remember there was some particular error that this is given. Let me check that. Right? I'll make this as abc.txt. Yeah, it is saying, yeah, hold on. Attribute error, str object has no attribute. All right, oh yes. Yeah, access modifier should be given. Hold on. Yeah. Now, I'm not going to explain you, never mind, I'll explain this. This is regarding the file operation. We are going to talk it as a separate one. But here what I am doing is I'm opening a file called abc.txt for writing, right? For the moment, just don't think about what's really happening, right? So in the print statement 10, I'm saying file equal f. This print 20, print 30 will be as it is, right? Now, once I run this, you can see 20 and 30 is printing on the screen. මෙතන තියෙන 20යි 30යි print වෙනවා. 10ට මොනවා වෙනවද කියලා පේන්නේ නැහැ. But if you go to the desktop, now you can see there is a new file called abc text. මෙයාට ක්ලික් කරලා ඕපන් කරලා බැලුවොත් මේක ඇතුලේ 10 paste වෙලා නැහැ. එතන ගැටලුවක් තියෙනවා. Hold on a second. Yeah, I have deleted the file which is called abc.txt. It is not over here now. I'm going to run this again. Right, so this happens and abc.txt is happening here. Yeah, for some reason it is not being written. Yes, yeah, hold on, I think error can be goes right here. It is because not being a string, right? It is some complex things to do, right? I'm just showing you like there are things that is going on like this as well. No, it is not working either. Never mind. Api file objects ගැන කතා කරනකොට එතන කතා කරගමු. What I want you to understand from here is there are ways that we can take the output not onto the screen but to the other places as well, right? So I'll discuss this when we are doing the file operations later, right? So just for the moment, remember that printing statement will help you to print the things or write the things not only onto the main screen but to some other places as well, right? Okay, right. Hold on a moment. I'm just getting some other idea about the flushing thing. Oh yes, flush should be true to have the 10 inside. Right, so don't worry about this for the moment. I'm just seeing whether it is happening in a correct way. Yes. Yeah. Now just see what's going on here. Just understand that it can be written to somewhere else, right? Making this string a little bit bigger. Let's first take some bigger number, 1 2 3 4 5 6, right? So I'm saying send it to file F flush true, right? So here I'm running it. So as well as 2030 comes, and in the test, yeah, as you can see 1 2 3 4 5 6 is given. So according to our program, this output came to a file called abc.txt, not to the screen, but these two comes into the screen because it is just the general print statement, right? දැන් මේ page දෙකේ මොකද වෙන්නේ කියන එක දැම්ම හිතන්න එපා. ඒක file operation කියලා එකක් අපි කරනවා. එතකොට මේ open කියන්නේ මොකද්ද? ඇයි මේක මෙහෙම ලියන්නේ? කවුද w කියන්නේ? මේ flush එකෙන් මොකද වෙන්නේ? We are going to talk about it. Right? So for the moment, just take the idea. Print statement can be used to show things on the monitor majorly, as well as we can use the print statement to send the data into a different location like a file. Right? Okay, people, got the idea? What are the capabilities of the print statement? Okay. Right. Yeah, now you got a thing to do since we are, yeah. I'll first run this program and show to you what actually happens. Now you can understand what it is. Right. Yeah, I'm running this. Okay, I'll take a new one. Yeah. Now in the first print statement, it says 1, 2, 3, 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4 is printed with space. And here it says print 1, 2, 3, 4, sep equals star they have used. So here 1 star, 2 star, 3 star, 4 is given. So the separator, value of the separator is changed. Here they use 1, 2, 3, 4, sep equal hash and end equal %. So output is like 1, hash 2, hash 3, hash 4, then the %. Right? So it is because change of this separator and the end parameters, right? So now you have the idea how it is happening, right? And here something little advanced for you to understand, right? It was tested in your exam papers for a few times, right? So this is about formatting the output, right? So this have to be understand very carefully. This is not anything complex, but you have to be careful when you are working with this, right? So to execute this, let me take these 2 steps to my program, right? Now here, yeah, I'm going to teach you 2 different things from here. Can you see I have used x equal 5 semicolon y equal 10. So we can use this semicolon to write our variables in a one single statement. Right? Then mama meyawa me vidihata පාවිච්චි කරොත් x equal 5 y equal 10 කියලා I'm going to get a syntax error, invalid syntax. But if I put a semicolon, it's going to print without a problem. So the first thing that you have to understand is you can use the semicolon and have multiple lines here, right? මට semicolon එක දදා ලියන්න පුළුවන් ඕන තරම්. Likewise, I can go, right? No difference is going to happen. Always remember, so this semicolon indicates that line has been terminated, right? Like we use in the SQL, right? SQL වලකට අපි semicolon එකක් පාවිච්චි කරන්නේ to indicate that this line is being terminated. So same can be used here, right? So if you want to have several different statements on a one single line, you can use the semicolon to indicate from where this line is going to be terminated, right? If you are not using the semicolon, one particular assignment per one line, right? So that's the first thing that you need to learn. And the second thing about the print statement, and moreover about this format function that we can use inside the print statement. Can you see the value of x is there, then 2 curly braces are there, then and y is, then again 2 curly braces are there. So these curly braces are called placeholders, right? So these placeholders are going to be replaced the things which we are going to introduce inside this format function, right? So the same print statement within brackets, we use a string, and inside the string there are placeholders And these placeholders will be replaced the parameters that we are going to use inside the format function. Right? So here you can see x is given a value 5, y is given a value 10. Right? So what I'm asking the print statement to do is the value of x is, and replace this placeholder from the first parameter of the format function. Format කියන function එක ඇතුලේ දැන් x and y ඉන්නවා. So x ගේ value එක මෙතනට ගන්න. That is what this is saying when we are using the format function. And y is කියන එක ඊළඟට print වෙනවා. So they replace this curly brace from the y. Right? And how we are going to use the format function, it is by separating a dot. Right? This particular thing, dot, then format, then these placeholders will be replaced by x and y. Right? So what is happening once this is being run? Here we go. So it shows the output. The value of x is 5. It is because this is 5. And from the format function, we have asked to replace this curly brace from this x. Here, x has the value 5. And from the second curly brace, we are asking to replace y. And here, the value of y is given. Right? So that is why we are receiving an output something like this. Are you clear with this? Okay. Right. So then we have talked about several different ways of using this format function. දැන් මෙතන output එක මේ පහළ මම කෙලින්ම දීලා තියෙනවා. ඔයගලන්ගේ පොතේ මේක output එක කියලා පොඩ්ඩක් indicate කරගන්න. Right? Then these placeholders can be used like this as well. Look at this example. Right? Let us copy this. So here we go. Right? Okay. Now this is what it is asking to print. Yeah, let me just a second. අපි උදාහරණයක් බදලා මට අපි දවස් දෙකක් වෙන try කරලා දෙකේම දැයි. දැන් ඉතින් කොට අහන්න උඩ ඒකයි නෑ. මේ ඒක අපි නැත හරි කරලා හරි Right. Now what's going on here? Now here we got the print statement and it says I love. Then inside the curly braces we have used a 0. And inside the curly brace, they have used a 1. Then dot format, it has cake, comma, biscuit, 2 different values. Now, when your format function comes like this cake and biscuit is going to have indexes, right? So that indexes are going to behave like this. Cake is going to have the index 0, biscuit is going to have index 1, right? So that is what they have done. Here they have said, place the 0th index here, place the first index here. Look at the second line. They have toggled the indexes. Place the first index here and the 0th index here, right? So the first line will print, I love cake and biscuit. And the second line will print, I love biscuit and cake, right? So here I'm going to run this. There you go. See, I love cake and biscuit. I love biscuit and cake. And remember, yes, දියල්සාර ඒක Python වලින්ම අඳුන ගන්නවා. Python වලින් ඕකට කියනවා tuple එකක් introduce කරනවා කියලා. අපි tuple ගැන ඉස්සරහට කතා කරනවා. Just for the moment, අපිට මතක තියාගන්න ඕනේ index එක දියල්සාර අහන්නේ අපි cake එක 0, biscuit එක 1 කියලා නෑනේ කියලා. It is figured out by the Python. Right? So Python තමයි cake කියන කෙනාට 0 assign කරන්නේ, biscuit කියන කෙනාට 1 කියන index එක දෙන්නේ. Then this 0 and 1 will be used accordingly. Clearly, Lalindi, clearly. Suhara. Daruni vinadiyak. Suhara, this is dirty, Suhara. Just go away. Don't take these things, Lulu. Patty. Right. Sorry, Lamai. Okay. So, දියල්සාර තේරුණා නේද? Clear නේද ඒක? Python ම තමයි 0 and 1 කියන එක settle කරගන්නේ. Right. Mihin, if we don't have and, then it says I love cake biscuit. එක ළඟ එයි. and එක මකලා නේ අහන්නේ, ඔහොමනේ අහන්නේ. Right? So if I save it with a comma, no problem. ඔයාට string එක ඇතුලේ comma එක දැම්මොත් ඒක string එකේම කොටසක් වෙනවා. It's going to be a part of the string. Right? If you are asking it on the other way around, right? අපි මෙහෙම read කරා අනිවාර්යෙන් මට හිතෙනවා ඒකේ ගැටලුවක් වෙන එකක් නැහැ. See, I love cake, biscuit. එතකොට මෙතන මෙහින් මේ කමා එක කියලා කියන්නේ මේ total string එකේ කොටසක්. ඒකයි කමා එක එතන පේන්නේ. දැන් මෙහින් අහන්නේ මෙහෙම දෙයක් නම්. මෙන්න මෙතන එකක් දාලා මෙන්න මේ විදිහට නම් ඔන්න ඔහොම නම් let's see whether this is going to work. Yeah, it still work, but the problem is මේ format function එක apply වෙන්නේ මේ first කියන එකනට විතරයි. මොකද මේ string එක අපි කඩලා දාලානේ තියෙන්නේ. ඒ string එක placeholder එකක් විදිහටම print වෙනවා. Look at this. right? See, I'm run karanna. Look at this. It says I love 0. It is because this string means I love 0, right? Then this says 1 dot format. 1 වලට එන්නේ biscuit. ඒක නිසා මේ 1 කියන එක්කෙනාට biscuit කියන එක අරගන්න. Got it, Mihin? So the dot format is going to work with the string which is connect with the dot, right? Otherwise, it's not going to work. Right? Okay. People, is this clear? Dilsara, clear the වැඩේ? Right. Okay. All right. And there is another way of doing this. Look at this. Let me clear the annotations. Right. Here it says a different thing. Look at this. Right now here I have taken print hello within curly braces. I got something called name, then a comma, again within curly braces I got greeting, then I have dot format, and inside the dot format greeting equals good morning, name equals John. Right? So we have used this greeting over here, this name over here, right? So this is like binding some value for some particular variable names, binding a value for some particular variable names, and those variable names have used over here, right? So see what's happening now. So it says, hello, John. It is because this has hello and name. So this comma comes as it is, then the greeting. Greeting is good morning. Right? So it says, hello, John, good morning. Got it? Lamai? Okay. Right. So the final way, we are using the percentage operator, right? දැන් මෙතන අපි කලින් ඉගෙන ගත්ත මේක modulus එක කියලා මතකයි නේද? arithmetic operators වලදී අපි ඉගෙන ගත්ත modulus operator කියලා එකක් percentage එක පාවිච්චි කරලා. Modulus operator can also be used inside the print statement, but it's not working to give you the modulus. Modulus විදිහට වැඩ කරන්නේ when it is working with the numbers, right? Here we use the percentage operator to specify a particular value or to show how a particular value is going to behave, right? So here in the print statement, I have set the value. Now you can see I have taken, let me copy this to the program. Right, here I have said x equals 12.345678. That is the value of the x. So it is a floating data type. Here I have said print the value of x is, then I took a percentage, then 3.2f. So from that point, my string is over. String is from here to here. And at the outside, I have percentage x. So this percentage x is for use instead of this 3.2f after the percentage mark. And what does this do? All right. This is there. First of all, I will show you what happens in the output. Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, this I'm taking out these things. They were like the output of those. Here we go. So the output shows you the value of x is 12.35. Now you can see the x is 12.345678. But here we said percentage 3.2 f. Right? So this means this 3 belongs to the 3 separate positions of the whole number part. 3 specific positions of the whole number part. Why I am saying whole number part? This x is having 12 as the whole number part. This is the fractional part. So this 3 indicates 3 positions for whole number part. In other words, there are space for 3 characters of the whole number. And here it says only 2 characters in the fractional side. So that is why this has 3,5 as the fractional part. Even though this has 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, it is being rounded for 2 decimal places. In the next one, we have said 3.4f. Right? So it is taken, 12 comes as it is because it has room, enough room. But here it has no enough room, only 4 places, 4 decimal places are there. So 3, 4, 5, 6. Only those decimal places will be there. So 6 will be converted into 7 because the latter part is 78. Right? Round theory ka right? So 6 becomes 78 because it is larger than 50. So 12.3457 is there. Right? So that is how the percentage operator, the modulus operator, works inside the print statement. Right? So what you have to remember is the decimal points, the floating point values will be limited by these things. Yeah, Lalin, the percentage 3 means a percentage 3 කියන එක ලොකුවට use වෙන්නේ නැහැ දුව ඇත්තටම, right? මෙතන පොඩි වෙනස්කමක් කරලා බලනවා, මෙතන 5 කියලා දාලා, hold on. Yeah, still it is not going to affect anything. Hold on. Yeah, a percentage part එක අඩු වැඩි වෙන එක ගැටලුවක් වෙන්නේ නැහැ floating point values වලට. Right? ඒ කියන්නේ ඔයා මෙතන 0 කියලා දැම්මත් this is going to work. Right? මම මෙතනින් 0 ව අයින් කරලා 2 විතරක් තියලා තිබ්බොත් it's still working. Right? If I say 2f, it's not going to work. Hold on. If I say 1f, it's not going to work again. Yeah. So Lalindi, the whole number part is not actually saying anything to do so, but when we are describing it, we are like taking these three to represent the whole number of characters, right? හැබැයි එයාගේ different එකක් එන්නේ නැහැ මේ f කියන floating point character එක අපි පාවිච්චි කරනකොට only the point values will be considered, right? So if you say 0.1f, then this will be limited into a 1 decimal point like this, 12.3. Got it? All right. අපි වඩා හොඳයි
සර් repeat and times ගාන දෙනවා නේද අපිට?
repeat වෙන times ගාන කියලා කිව්වේ මේ නිර්මාණ?
ඒක repeat වෙලා තිබ්බනේ උතන. අර කලින් page එකේ
3.1 කියන එකද?
අර value of it. නෑ සර් ඔය ටික.
ඒ කියන්නේ මෙන්න මේකද
ඔව් සර්. ඔව්.
නෑ මේක දෙන්නේ මම මෙතන දාලා තියෙන නිර්මාණ මේක console එකේ run කරාම එක සැරේ output එක දෙනවා. මේ මෙතන තියෙන ඇත්තටම output එක. right? මේ පෙන්නලා තියෙන output එක ඕගොල්ලන්ගේ. මේක තමයි code එකට අදාළව තියෙන code parts දෙක. right? It's better you write it like that people. එහෙම දාලා තියෙන තැන් වල පොඩ්ඩක් අපි ඒක ලියාගමු. right? Please indicate this line as the output. These two lines are the source code or the code which is being executed. මේ lines දෙක execute වෙන line දෙක. This is the output. Right? මට ඒක format කරන්න බැරි වෙලා තියෙනවා අර කලින් විදිහට. Right? Here we don't have any problem. For here, this is the source code or the code which executes. This is the output. Right? Please indicate in your books. Right? And then these two lines are the source code. This is the first output or the output of this print statement. And this is the output of this particular print statement. Please indicate it accordingly.
සර් ඇහෙන්නේ නැහැ සර්.
Oh, ඇහෙනවද නිර්මාණ?
දැන් හරි සර්. අර lag ගෙවි පොඩ්ඩක් ඇහුනේ.
right. මේ ටික mention කරගන්න මෙන්න මේ තැන්වල මේ ටික තියෙන්නේ source code එකේ මේ ටික තමයි source code එක නැත්නම් code එක Python. මෙතන නිර්මාණ output එක. lag වෙනවා නම් කියන්න ළමයි. මේ ටික source code එක මෙයා output එක. right? මෙතනදී these two lines are the source code. This is the output of this particular print statement. And again, this is a part of the source code. This is output of this particular print statement. Right? The main lines deka outputs විදියට වැඩ කරන්නේ. Okay, is that clear, people? Can I have the confirmation? Right. And ළමයි අපි මෙතන වෙනස් කරගමු නැත්නම් ඕක ඔයගලන්ට කොයි හරි වෙලාවක මිස් වෙන්න ඉඩ තියෙනවා. right? මෙතන තියෙන 3 කියන එක tipex කරලා අයින් කරන්න. මොකද ඒක valid point එකක් වෙන්නේ නැහැ. right? So it's better you shows the relationship. You take out these 3, right? Good. ළමයි මාව clearly ඇහෙනවද? Internet.
නෑ නෝ
Right. Okay. Right. So you can cut this point down. මේක ටිපෙට්ස් කරගන්න ළමයි. Point කියන්නේ decimal point එක තියාගන්න. Decimal point එක ඕනේ. number එක විතරයි අස් කරන්නේ. Then it's better you mention because of these two decimal places will be here. Because of these four decimal places are here. Right? Okay, relationship එක දාගන්න. So it will be much clearer for you.
සයිද 12 පොයින්ට් කොහෙන්වත් අපිට ගන්න ඕනේ නැති කියන්නේ 2f දාලා තිබ්බහම ඩෙසිමල් ප්ලේසස් දෙකක් ආවා.
Oh, 0.2 දාලා තියෙන නිසා තමයි decimal places දෙකක් එන්නේ. 0.4 දාලා තියෙන නිසා තමයි decimal places හතරක් එන්නේ.
හරි.
හරි. 12 කියන එක එතකොට automatically එයා pick කරනවා. ඒ කියන්නේ ඕකෙන් කියන්නේ floating point value එකක decimal places ගාන control කරගන්නේ කොහොමද කියන එක. Right? Okay. Right, people, before we move to the control structures, we are going to write the Python program to our first two programs, right? First 2 or 3 programs, right? So I want you to give a try for that thing. So our very first program or the very first example is about taking two numbers from the user and add them up and displaying the output, the total. So now try to write the Python program which is equivalent to your flowchart and the pseudocode. Right? දැන් එතකොට අර flowchart pseudocode ඇඳපු page එකේම තමයි Python code එක ලියන්නේ. Right? Right? So when you are doing it, so you have to match the things, right? You don't have anything to match with start and end. Start කියන එක Python වලදී එන්නේ නැහැ. End කියන එක Python වලදී එන්නේ නැහැ. Right? So then you have to think how you are going to take two numbers. Right? So if you want to take two numbers from the user, you need two input statements. Okay, the input statement එකකින් තමයි අපිට numbers ගන්න පුළුවන් වෙන්නේ. Inputs ගන්න පුළුවන් වෙන්නේ. So you need two input statements to take two numbers. So when you are using the input statement, remember to use it as we learn. Right? මතකනේ input statement එක දැන්. Right? So since you are working with numbers, you have to convert it to an int as well. So මෙන්න මේ වගේ එකක් ඕගලන්ට උවමනා වෙයි. Right? So likewise, take two numbers, add those things together, then show it as your output on the screen. Okay, this is the first example we did. Now give it a try. I'll give you 5 minutes. So just meanwhile, you can send it to me, the answers. I'll do it within 5 minutes. Why I'm giving you 5 minutes is just because you are doing it for the very first time. Okay, Lalindi, I receive yours. Let me see. Yes, very good. That is the answer. Go for the second one, though. ළමයි මගේ ඉන්ටර්නෙට් කනෙක්ෂන් එක පොඩ්ඩක් අද අන්ස්ටේබල් වෙනවා මාව ක්ලියර් නැත්තම් කියන්න. And there is a news going on that we can start the classes which has the student crowd less than 100, like from the November 1st week. It's still just not a confirmed one, right? In case if it is going to be, I'm thinking about starting the classes, but again, I need the confirmation from your parents as well, whether it is good to go on that way, or like, do we need to do it online a little bit further or not. So please take your message to your parents and just ask and give me the feedback. Is it okay for us to start the class after November 1 if the government really permits for that? Right? So just see how the things are going to go, right? Right, Larindi, I received the second one. Let me see. Yep. Yes. Yes. Yes, though. Yes. That's correct. That's correct. Right. ළමයි මාව clearly ඇහෙනව නේද ඔය පැත්තට? Right. Okay, so here I'm going to do the first example. Right now in first example, what do we have? We have to take two numbers from the user and we have to take the total out of that particular things, right? Which is the given number. And as you can see in the flow chart, they say start, enter two numbers, add two numbers together and calculate the total, display the total and end. And if you go through the pseudocode, it has begin, enter two numbers, add two numbers together and calculate the total, display the total and end. And now when we are converting this into the Python, what we have to figure out is how these instructions are being taken into the Python. So Python does not give anything to begin. Begin කියන keyword එක හරි flowchart එකේ තියෙන begin icon එක හරි මේකේ represent කරන්න දෙයක් නැහැ. So you can start it from the enter two numbers one. So that enter two number indicates you have to take two numbers from the user. So now you have to think, okay, enter two number means taking two numbers from the user. Then how I'm going to take two numbers from the user? That is from the input statement, right? So input statement, I have to give something meaningful for the user. So then he will enter numbers. So I can say enter number one, right? You don't need to, your answer or like your this phrase which is inside your answer should not be the same thing, but something meaningful. So having this input statement like this will show you something on the screen, but it won't collect it and assign to some other variable. Otherwise, whatever the user is given will not be able to memorize by the program. To memorize by the program, we need a particular variable. So here we are getting numbers. So I'm taking like N1 equals input enter number one. So once I write this, enter number one will be there on the screen. So user will be given some value. That value will be assigned to the N1. But there is a problem. The problem is why we are taking these numbers. It is to do a calculation, to do an addition. So to add this thing, like if I have my input statement like this, it will return a string input or it will assign a string input to the N1. So I don't want string input because string inputs cannot be calculated with each other. So I need to convert this. So the thing we learn, I'm going to put this inside int function. So now user will see the message and he will give the number and input function will return that number into the int. So int will convert that particular value into an integer, then it will be assigned to the N1, right? And then I'm going to have a same kind of input line. Why I'm having a same kind of input line? Because I need two numbers. Through a one input statement, I will be able to take only one value, right? So my second number, I name it as N2. And then here in the question that I'm asking from the user, I'm saying enter number 2. So now user will have the idea, okay, enter number 1 is there. He will enter a number and press enter. Then again, another number will come, enter number 2. Then he will give some other number and press enter. So that will be given, right? So now my program has both the numbers which is given by the user on N1 and N2. Now I need the total, right? So the best practice is you may have another variable called total. right? And you add n1 and n2 together and assign that particular value to the total. Then what you can do is you can print the total like this, simple as that, right? So if I save it and if I run this, so it will ask a number. So I'm going to give 10 and press enter. So it will ask another number. So I get 20 and press enter. So it prints my answer as 30. Yeah, people, did you get this? තේරුණාද කොහොමද මේක උනේ කියලා?
සයිද ලෙටර් එකක් දාලා තිබ්බොත් number 1 කීගේ දාන්න ඕනේ නැහැ නේ ලෙටර් එක දාන්න පුළුවන්.
letter එකක් කියලා කිව්වේ
ඒ කියන්නේ දැන් number 1 වෙනුවට දැන් අර දෙවෙනි එකේ තියෙන number 1 වෙනුවට x කියලා ගන්නවා y කියලා ගන්න. එතකොට xy කියලා කෙලින්ම දාලා දකින්න අපිට.
පුළුවන්. ඒතර x equals int input එක ලියන්න ඕනේ, y equals int input එක ලියන්න ඕනේ. ඒකද නිර්මාණය නැත්නම් මෙතන මේ enter number 1 number 2 කියලා තියෙන එක ගැන දහන්නේ.
නෑ සාරක enter number 1 කියනකොට enter number x කියලානේ ගන්න වෙන්නේ.
ඔව් මෙහෙමයි නිර්මාණ. එතනදී දැන් enter number x කිව්වම user තේරෙන්නේ නැහැනේ මේ x කියන්නේ මොකක්ද කියලා. තේරුණාද? ඒක නිසා user ගෙන් ඔයා ඒක අරගෙන x ට assign කරගන්න. මම මෙතන n1 ගන්න එක වෙනකොට ඔයාට x ගන්න පුළුවන්. ඒක user ට පේන්නේ නැහැනේ. user ට පේන දේ ටිකක් පැහැදිලිව දෙන්න.
number 1 කියලා ගත්තත් වැරද්දක් නැහැ නේ අපි නේද? ඒතකොට user එක කෙලින්ම
ඔව් number 1 කියලා ගත්තට කමක් නැහැ. අර මම මේක දෙන්නේ දැන් මේක දකින්නකොට number 1 කියලා දකින්නකොට user ID එකක් යනවා හරි number එකක් ඉල්ලනවා කියලා. complete වෙන්න. ඕගොල්ලෝ මේවා ලියන එක ඒ message එක මොන වගේ වුණාද කියලා විභාගෙදි ලකුණු අඩු කරන්නේ නැහැ. නමුත් අර අපේ practice එක හොඳ කරගන්නයි මම මේක කියන්නේ මේ විදිහට යන්න කියලා. right? Okay, everyone, please confirm whether this is okay with you or not. මේ කරපු දේ හරියට තේරුණාද නැද්ද කියන එක please confirm, right? Okay, how about others? Okay, all right, Mihin, Devsara, right? Okay, how about others? Kushani Dua, Minidi? Right, okay.
සර් එතකොට සර් මේ
Only one.
දැන් හිතන්නකෝ සර් වෙනම average එක ගන්න තිබ්බා කියලා ඒ කියන්නේ add කරලා
Oh.
ඊට පස්සේ add එකට වෙනම statement එකකුයි average එකට වෙනම statement එකකුයි වෙනනේ print දෙකක්.
ඔව් print දෙක කොහාට දෙන්න පුළුවන්. ඕනනම් එක print එක දෙන්නත් පුළුවන්. print දෙක එක දෙන්නත් පුළුවන්. No problem. Right? Okay, try the next one, which is the average calculation one. Then you can't go for the third one because third one is with a control structure. Right? You can do the first one and the second one. Right? Second one, this is the flow chart. So it start, enter 3 numbers. We consider it as x, y, and z. So we calculate the total and average. Then we display those two. Yes, Chinani. Let me see. Yes, that's correct. Chinani, very good. That is correct. I'm going to do the next question within another 2 minutes, Lamai. So if you're done with this, just send me the answers. Two have already sent me the answers. Others?
So average ගන්න total divide by 3 කියලාද අපි Python එකට ලියන්නේ නැත්නම් n1 n2 plus n3 divide by 3 කියලාද?
ඒක ඔයා ලියන ප්‍රෝග්‍රෑම් එක අනුව තමයි නිර්මාණය. ඒ කියන්නේ ඔයා total එක ගත්තනම් x plus y plus z කියලා ඔයාට total divide by 3 ගන්න පුළුවන්. No problem.
හරි. සමන් එව්වා.
බලමු නිර්මාණ. right දේවල් සරගෙත් ඇවිල්ලා තියෙනවා කොහොමද මුලින්ම දේවල් සරග එක බලන්න ඉන්න දේවල් සර මුලින් ගාලා තියෙනවා right okay yes දේවල් සර that's correct very good okay නිර්මාණ නිර්මාණ average එක ඔයා ලියලා කියන්නේ average equals total මේ විදිහට ලිව්වොත් පුතේ වැරදි දැන් මෙහෙම Python වල යටින් ඉරක් අඳින්න බෑනේ. total කියලා ලියලා යටින් ඉරක් අඳින්න බෑනේ. එතකොට ඒකට තියෙන හරි ඔපරේටර් එක පාවිච්චි කරන්න ඕනේ. එතකොට තියෙන ඇල ඉර. right? total
අනිත් ටිකත් වැරදිද?
ඇල ඉර 3. අනිත් ටික හරි. අනිත් ටික හරි. මේ මෙහෙම මේ indentation මාරු කරන්න එපා. indentation මාරු කරොත් මේ syntax errors දෙනවා. ඒක නිසා ඔක්කොම එක alignment එකේ ලියන්න. right? Okay, I'm going to do the third question and I'm going to modify this program. It will be easier for me. So to take the third number, I'm going to take 3 and I'm going to take this as n3. But in my flow chart, I have said enter 3 numbers as x, y, z. So because of that, I'm changed this as x, y, z. හරියටම flow chart එකේ විදිහටම match කරගන්නවා නම් it's going to be x y z here so my total is going to be x plus y plus z then I can calculate the average as well here avg equals I'm saying total divide by 3 and then I'm going to print the total and then I'm going to print the average, right? And if I really want to modify the output, I can say total is, that is going to be within inverted commas. And here I'm going to say average is, right? Then I'm going to say avg. So I'm going to save it and I'm going to run it. Enter number 1. I'm entering 10. Oh, I'm sorry. 10. Number 2, 20. Number 3, 30. So 10 plus 20 is 30, 30 plus 30 is 60, 60 divided by 2, 3, it's going to be 20. So my total is 60, average is 20. Once I press enter, so it is coming total is 60, average is 20.0. Why it is coming as a 20.0? Because of this division operator. මතකද මම division operator එක ගැන කියනකොට කිව්වා division operator එක හැම වෙලාවෙම float value එකක් විදිහට තමයි output එක දෙන්නේ කියලා. So you have to remember, right? And if you really want to arrange this, again, මේ program එක තව ලස්සන කරන්න ඕන නම් දැන් මට ආවනම් හොඳයිනේ 10 20 30 කියන numbers වල total එක 60යි ඒ ටිකේ average එක 20යි කියලා වගේ එහෙම පෙන්නන්න ඕන නම් you can modify this, right? So I can say like this, right? Total of, so I'm going to put a comma x. Oh, Nirmana.
එතකොට අපිට මේ print total එකට වෙනම එකක් කරන් total එකට total එකයි ඒකේ print එකයි එක ළඟයි average එකයි ඒකේ print එකයි වෙන වෙනම ලියන්න.
කිසිම ගැටලුවක් නැහැ. Oh. Right. And yeah, like this. Then ඕගොල්ලෝ මේ මම මේ ලියන එකම ලියන්න අවශ්‍ය නැහැ. මම කියන්නේ program එකක් අපි attractively කරනවා නම් කොහොමද මේ වැඩේ කරගන්නේ කියන එක. Right? Right, if I run it, let me run it on a new one. So 10, 20, 30. See, total of 10, 20, and 30 is 60. Right? ඔයගලන්ට ඕනේ නම් එහෙම ලස්සන කරන්න පුළුවන්. Right? ඔතන ඇත්තටම අපි programs හදනකොට those are the things that we have to think about. User ට කොහොමද මේ program එක user friendly කරන්නේ? Right? අපි නැත්තම් නිකම්ම algorithm එකක ලියලා raw විදිහට දෙන එක අපරාධයි. එතකොට users ලා අපේ programs වලින් ඈත් වෙනවා. Right? So you can modify it in the way you want. Right? මෙහෙම එනකොට හරිම descriptive. බලන කෙනාට තේරෙනවා. Alright, මෙහෙමයි කියලා. හැබැයි විභාගෙදී ඔහොම ලියන්න කියලා එහෙම කිසිම නීතියක් නැහැ. Print total, print average කියලා ලිව්වම you are going to get the marks. Right? But I am talking about if you are having a dream of becoming a programmer or becoming a system development engineer or something, then it's better you learn the tactics. Right? Okay, people, is this clear? අන්තිමට කරපේ කොළුවට ගියේ නැති වුණාට අවුලක් නැහැ. මේ කියන්නේ format කරගන්න එක. Other than that, okay, great. All right. So next we have to discuss about the control structures, which I'm not going to discuss now, right? විනාඩි 3ක් විතර තියෙන නිසා මොකද if පටන් ගත්තොත් if එක, if and else එක, else if එක ඒ දේවල් ටික කතා කරන්න ඕනේ. So next week I'm going to talk about the selections. Now we have done with the sequences, right? The one we have done in the first question and the second question are called the sequences, right? The steps which happens one after the other. Then the selections we are going to talk about. So it's the if statement. So in next week, you got many writings to do. So get ready, go through the things that we have done today, right? As well as the previous things, and get ready, right? එතකොට මෙතන if එක පාවිච්චි වෙන ක්‍රම 4යි. ඊළඟට loops වලට එනකොට while කියලා loop එකක් හම්බ වෙනවා, for කියලා loop එකක් හම්බ වෙනවා. How we are going to handle with it? Those are the things we are going to talk about. Right? Okay, so I'm going to end the session from here for today, right? So thank you very much, and get ready for the control structures by next week, people. Right? Okay, so have a very nice weekend and be safe, people. Right, and good night. Very good night. Yes, yes. Right. Okay, people. Right. Okay. Right. Okay, people. Thank you very much.